Hello everyone, welcome to our Airbnb in Brooklyn. You are on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You're on 13 books because I couldn't pack my stand for my camera, so we're stacking you up on books. All right, let me just fix them a little bit. It's a lot of different books too. Okay, there we go. All right, as you guys know, we're in Brooklyn, we're in New York, and we decided to live here for a month. So before I get into all that, let's just do a little montage, if you will, of our move. So here it is. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, we're in New York for a month. I want to answer some of you guys' questions before I get into like the history, if you will, so that way I don't repeat myself. There we go. Question: why New York? What gave you the freedom you work remotely? So 2 questions basically. Why New York? First, why New York? All right, so Nick and I have both been to New York numerous times. And so we knew we weren't going to feel like obligated to see all the touristy sites because we've already seen them. So we knew we could work very comfortably. Again, we are working remotely, so it's not like we're on vacation. So I'm filming, I'm doing a lot of things. Nick's on calls for meetings. So we had to be somewhere where we didn't want to feel like, oh, we got to go do this, 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 and this. We've seen a lot of things. So when we're exploring, it'll be nice. Because also we've seen a lot of things in New York, we decided that New York would be a great like central spot because we want to do a lot of weekend trips to a lot of East Coast towns that maybe we just wouldn't have done a vacation to. So we went to go see Philly, we might go see Washington, D.C. We're going to take a drive up to Maine. So a lot of different areas that maybe we wouldn't just necessarily make a vacation out of. But we're on the East Coast, we're closer, we might as well. All right. What gave you the freedom to work remotely? Great question, because I'm crazy. I started to work remotely in 2016. That's when I left the nonprofit industry. If you guys are new, if you're new here, this will be a new story. If you've been here a while, you can fast forward, you know this. But I used to work in the nonprofit industry. I realized I don't like working 9 to 5. I also really didn't like working in the nonprofit industry. There's just a lot of red tape and you're not able to do as much good as you want to. And I've always wanted to create my own business. So I created the magazine, now I created a branding company. And I realized that's what makes me the most productive is being in charge of my own schedule. I don't do very well in like an office environment. And I feel like that's not talked about a lot with young professionals. Maybe now with like the younger people like Gen Zers. But I felt like sort of bad about myself for a while because I wasn't really good as like a 9 to 5 employee. I wasn't like horrible. I didn't like come to work late or anything like that. But I just wasn't happy and I wasn't performing or operating at the highest level I can versus now. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, like being an entrepreneur and being a business owner, you get to do whatever you want, work wherever, because you do have to have a lot of self-discipline. And trust me when I say this, I've met a lot of people that want to be small business owners or solo entrepreneurs because it sounds glamorous and it sounds like you can go work from wherever. But you have to discipline yourself. You have to be your own manager. And some people just don't have that in them. And that's okay to know that about yourself. because you have to tell yourself to get up at a certain time. You have to tell yourself like you have to do this work and it has to be done by this day, right? And a lot of people need someone else to tell them that. So built my life around this, you know, and built client base so I can work anywhere. And luckily, you know, maybe I'll do a whole video of like the financial part of it. And so now with Nick's job, he's always had a 9 to 5. He strives in like a corporate environment, more like startup. He doesn't really like corporate, startup environment. He works in tech. And by the way, if you're new here, Nick is my husband. So he loves that. When the pandemic happened, of course, he had to work remotely. And so he had to learn also like how to work remotely because he just didn't really like it. He liked going into the office. That's where he was performing at his highest and best. One of the ways to cope with working remotely is being able to work from wherever, right? And so Nick loves traveling. So we got to go to different parts. Last year we went to Oaxaca, and I would talk about that a little bit more, maybe in another question, because again, I don't want to repeat myself. So now that we're both able to work remotely, it's easier to plan longer trips versus when he was going into the office and it was also expected of him to go to the office. We would have to plan like 2-week, 3-week vacations. But now it's like, oh, we could spend a month here. He doesn't have to take vacation days because, again, you can work from anywhere. All right. All right, second question. How are you enjoying it compared to everywhere else? I love New York. New York is like one of my favorite cities in the world, or one of my favorite cities I've been to. I haven't seen every city in the world. So out of all the cities I've been to, this and Rome would have to be my 2 top favorite cities. New York, just because like the energy. I mean, there's still a lot of things of New York I don't like. I don't like how it's always like just dirty. Like it's just like grimy. And it's like a hustle. Like, and I think that's why people are harder here or maybe feel like they have to hustle more because Nick said it best. It's like you're always paddling upstream, right? And so you're always pushing yourself because it's like there's so much going against you. And there's like a lot of little things, but I just love the energy of New York. I just love that there's always, again, something going on. And there's just so much, I don't want to say diversity because there's, you know, I've lived in the Bay Area, now I live in LA. There's diversity there. But there is this sense of you are aware of your neighbors, right? Because of the subway, because you are so close quarters. So when you're on the subway, it's not just like, you know, poor people on the subway, right? It's everyone. So you could be like working on a really cool startup, walking to like your yoga class or something. And while you're walking, you are seeing so many different types of people in different socioeconomic classes that you are aware, at least aware of them, aware that they exist, aware that like there are people that live in your town that have totally different environment, perspective and lifestyle than you do. Versus in other cities like the Bay Area, like Oakland or San Francisco or LA where we live in, it's so, you're in your car. So there's this divide, if you will, between you and people that don't live or work like you or have a perspective like you. So you could feel sort of in a bubble where you're only surrounded by people that think and look and act like you, versus in New York where it's like it's in your face all the time. So you are aware that there are other people that have very different lives than you do, that live just honestly a few blocks from you. That's what I love about it. And yeah, I'm just enjoying it. Also, I luckily have know a few people here in New York, here on the East Coast, and so I get to hang out with them, and that's always fun. All right, how did you come to the decision on only 1 month versus permanent? Easy. We weren't ready to move to New York. I would love to live in New York, but all our family's in California, and we just moved to LA, so I feel like I'm not even like fully engaged yet in LA. I can't wait to actually go back to the land of sun. You know, it gets so dark here. I have to find like the one corner of like sunlight. All right. Oh, my battery's like, I'm dying. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me finish this last question. What is it you get to do exactly? work? I don't know what you mean by this question. So I'm working still, right? So, you know, again, I have the magazine. So that's what this video is a part of. And, you know, I have a branding company. So I'm still working. I'm still meeting with clients. I'm still creating content, still managing my team. So that's exactly what I get to do. While I'm on the East Coast, though, maybe I get to go to really cool events, meet new people here on the East Coast, build relationships, you know, just enjoy being on the East Coast. And those are the questions. So again, if you are able, now it's 2022, a lot of us can work remotely. You know, I strongly suggest doing that if you're financially able to, right? There's a lot of us that maybe just financially can't do it, or, you know, if you have kids, especially if they're in school, that's hard to plan. But maybe like during the summer when they have summer breaks, go for a month and the whole family lives somewhere else, right? Because there's plenty of places that can be fun and affordable and things along those lines that are good for a family. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I answered your questions. And yeah, so let me know if you have more questions. Sorry, I'm like so like it's that thing right there, that thing, the flashing thing, the battery that's like freaking me out. So I feel like I gotta finish this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions about how to work remotely, you know, how I did that, feel free to ask me. If you also have questions of like why, like how I switch careers or any of that, again, ask me. Maybe I'll do another video. All right, see you guys around.